Hi, I'm Elaine from the Pulaski County Public Library, and today we are talking with JoLynn Behny, our clerk for Pulaski County. This is the second of a three-part series on questions that some people may have about voting. Welcome back, JoLynn. Thank you again.
Thanks, Elaine. Thanks for doing this.
So we're just going to shoot right into our next set of questions here. What is absentee voting?
Absentee voting is voting any place other than at the poll on election day. So there's different types. You can vote early and in person, or you can vote by mail, or you can request to vote by travel board, but that requires meeting some criteria that you have to qualify for.
Okay. Can anyone choose to vote by mail?
Yes, but again, there are several criteria that you need to qualify for. This is the application that you receive either online or from the clerk's office. There's a broad range of things. Over 65, or you are confined, or you're caring for someone who is confined, or you have disabilities, or you have to be at work all day during the election and you won't be able to make it to the polls. So there's a broad range of qualifications.
Okay. I voted by mail for the primary election in the spring. Can I do that again?
Yes, but you have to reapply. We have to have an application for this fall election.
Okay. And part of the reason that I voted was because of COVID. Is that still in effect that you can?
The Secretary of State's office kind of lightened the restrictions for voting by mail for the primary election when COVID was such a brand new thing and so terrifying to everybody. They have determined that they will not extend that into the November election. This November election is going to be run like any other presidential election in the past, with 28 days of early voting. You must qualify to vote by mail. You must qualify to vote by travel board. So they want it run as normally as possible.
Okay. How do I get a mail-in ballot? And actually, before we get there, there's been some concern about applications for mail-in ballots being sent unsolicited. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, and it's causing most clerks an absolute nightmare. It's a confusing enough election the way it is with COVID. But I know the major parties have mailed out mass mailers. They're heavier cardstock. It's got information on it. One of the really scary things for the clerks is that, say, I'm single, and yet I received a packet with 2 applications in it. So these mailings that they're doing, they're sending out 2 applications. So that's making things very difficult for us. The state website that we have to use for voter registration does have flags in there. It does make it almost impossible to submit 2 applications. A lot of people are doing it out of fear because of the fears that have been created about the mail and the voting system the way it is. But if you do choose to use these applications to get an absentee ballot, they are legitimate. They are the real applications that we use. And what happens is the return address on the back of it is the Indiana Election Division in Indianapolis. What they are doing on a daily basis is taking the applications that they receive, putting them in an envelope and mailing to the local clerk's offices. So if you do choose to use this, that's fine, but please mail it to the Pulaski County Clerk's Office or drop it by. That way we can plan for absentee ballot supplies and the numbers, and we really need to get these. Like, it's absolutely fine, but we need them in our office, not in Indianapolis.
Okay, so if somebody does fill out that second application and send it in, there's a safeguard that they won't get a second ballot, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
All right, so how do they get a mail-in ballot?
You can call, using the mass mailing, you can call the clerk's office, 946-3313, and ask, or you can get online at indianavoters.in.gov. You can fax your request, you can email your request. So just about any form of communication. If you want to stop in the clerk's office and ask, we can print up your application right there for you.
Okay, great. Is there a deadline to apply for a mail-in ballot?
Yes, the deadline is October 22nd, and they have to be received by mail by the 26th. So that's a very short turnaround time.
Okay, and so there's a deadline to apply for the mail-in ballot, you said?
Yes, yes, there is.
Yeah.
The 22nd of October.
Okay. When do mail-in ballots have to be submitted?
If you're dropping it off by hand by noon on Election Day, November 3rd.
Okay. Some of my friends have told me mail-in voting isn't safe. How do you make sure that our vote is secure?
Well, first of all, we have a great working relationship with our local post office. We've been in contact several times about the amount of mail that we're going to be dealing with in the next couple of weeks. And just make sure if you're going to vote by mail, please get your application into us early. Get it in early. And if you're worried about the ballot getting here in time, mail it early or drop it by.
Okay. I'd rather vote in person, but I don't want to deal with crowds on election day. Can I vote early in person? Like, is there a start date and an end date?
Yes, Tuesday, October 6th is the start date, 8 to 4 at the Pulaski County Justice Center through that Friday. It will run Monday through Friday until Monday, November 2nd, the day before the election at noon at the Pulaski County Justice Center, which is the building just south of the courthouse. And then the 2 Saturdays before, on the 24th and 31st, we'll have early voting at the Justice Center from 8 to noon and at the Francisville Fire Station from 8 to noon.
Okay, so everything is being done at the Justice Center this year?
Yes.
Okay. Do I need to apply in advance to vote in person early?
As long as
Early
your
in person?
not in person. No, as long as your voter registration is current, all you need to do is show up, bring your photo ID, and then you're good to go.
If I don't have a photo ID, are there other pieces of identification that are acceptable?
We can use a state ID. Usually the voter registration is done off a driver's license or a state ID.
Does a passport work?
That
Good
I
question.
know. Good question. Yeah. The new clerk's got to do some homework. I will find that out. I don't think anybody's ever used that.
Can I vote on my phone or online?
No. We either need a physical ballot in our office or you need to actually cast your vote on a voting machine.
Okay. All right. Well, again, JoLynn, I'd like to thank you for your time today. This has been some great information. This was the second part of a 3-part series. Is there anything you'd like to add that we've covered today?
I just want to emphasize, make sure your voter registration is current and get your application in early. Ask for it now if you plan on voting by mail.
Great. Okay, keep checking back as we continue to share information on the upcoming election. We'll see you next time.